Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.
Shabbat
Shana
Shalom.
Tova. Shabbat Shalom.
This summer, I took Alma, my oldest daughter, to a Louis Tomlinson concert at the MGM Musical Hall at Fenway. Louis is one of the former singers of One Direction. If you don't know who he is, that's okay. I didn't either. I had a parenting fail by not getting tickets to Taylor Swift, so this was a way to redeem myself. To tell you the truth, I did not expect much from that evening. I was just chaperoning my daughter, and I figured I would sit and wait, listen to some of the songs that by now I knew from our car rides, and then probably take care of some email. I have not been to a concert in a long time, too long. And I have definitely not been in a room with so many people between the age of 13 and 25, give or take. I could spot some people like me, parents, older people, swaying side to side, pretending to know the songs while trying to take pictures of their children without them noticing. At some point, they went to the back, and after standing for 3 hours, sat down on the ground and played on their phones. The thing is that my phone died. And so did my plans for being productive. So there I stood, watching and listening to 5,000 people who were singing and dancing to music I didn't really know. I was fascinated by their passion, enthusiasm, and the intensity swirling around me. I was reminded of some of my experiences as a teen, though I listened to a different kind of music. But after a few minutes, I began to relate to the experience as one of profound prayer. More accurately, I longed for our prayer experience to be like the one that these thousands of young people were having together. I was still looking at the intensity of this one-time instant community, which was there for one purpose, to sing and dance to the music of this beloved, and let me add, pretty good singer. I longed for that intensity, not just for myself, but for us, for those of us who come to services every Shabbat or once a year. What would it feel like for us to pour our hearts to God, to be raw, vulnerable, and ecstatic, just like teens at a concert? It is not that we have not had experience of soulful prayer and song full of tears and joy. Surely we have. I think we at TBZ can pride ourselves for being a community of joyful and soulful prayer, and I'm hopeful that in the next 10 days we will hold together sacred space for prayer and heart-opening experience. In some ways, the concert reminded me of Neila, and I should have worn my Neila shoes that day. But in many ways, the experience of worship, it is very different. I read an article by a Christian Indian blogger, Rejoy Tatatil, who describes five key differences between a concert and prayer. Number one, the main intent of a concert is for the singers and musicians to entertain the crowd. In prayer, the main intent of the leaders is to ensure that congregants are tuned to worship God and not be mere listeners. Number two, at a concert, the focus of the leader and the musicians is to sing the best they can and not mess up. While in worship, the focus is God. Number three, at a concert, the more extravagant the stage with sparkles and lights and acrobatics, the better. At a worship service, the fewer the distractions, the better. Number four, he says, the concert is about the moment. You feel great and wonderful, but it will not transform you, while the hope for a prior service is one of transformation. And lastly, he noted that when attending a concert, it does not matter who you are and what do you do after that. You go and leave. But in worship, it matters who you are and what happens after you leave. Some of this analysis rings true to me. Prayer is not about being entertained, though many expect some level of entertainment at a prayer service. On the other hand, concerts can truly be transformative. In addition, coming into prayer together is about community and values and bringing our full selves to it. But I'm left with one key question. Why, for the most part, for many of us, is it much easier to access intensity, vulnerability, liberation at a concert or a dance party than in a sanctuary? In speaking to Rabbi about this, she shared with me her experience this summer as she went to Baton Rouge for a concert all by herself. As she described the experience to me, she talked about the sense of anonymity. No one knew her. No one cared about her dance moves or what she wore. She brought her full self to this faraway place and let her soul crack open to the music of her teens. You can ask her the name of the artist she went to see, non-familiar to me. Rav Tiferet reminded me of this as a difference to notice. Our whole liturgy, especially one of the high holidays, is one of community and belonging and not of anonymity. On Yom Kippur, we will recite our list of sins in the plural. Ashabnu, bagadnu, gazalnu, divarnu dofi. We are guilty, we have betrayed, we have stolen, we have spoken incorrectly. We are a we. We are not an I. We are a collective. And that is not only true in prayer or in our liturgy, that is true in the ways that we think about belonging to community and to the Jewish people. Maybe the key difference between a concert and a prayer service is the lasting experience of the collective. When we come together in prayer and in community, the goal is that we are reminded of our belonging to the we. The we is a collective experience that lasts far beyond the moment of tefillah, of prayer. I hope it lasts in the life of the community at TBZ, in the life of the Jewish people, and in all the ways we show up in the world. Maybe that makes the experience of prayer more difficult to some. Perhaps for many of us, even though being in community is an important value and at the center of why we are here tonight, opening ourselves fully and bringing our full selves becomes challenging exactly because we are not alone. The Baal Shem Tov, the founder of Hasidism, taught, when a person is praying and is making outlandish movements, do not mock them, for such a one is trying to save oneself from the waters of iniquity. The Baal Shem Tov does two things in this teaching. First, he compares the movement of our prayers as movements of salvation, of survival. And second, he recognizes that a person might avoid doing so for fear of being mocked. Fear is alive for many of us when we come to synagogue. We fear judgment, we fear being ridiculed, we fear being different, we fear not knowing enough, we fear being lonely. My question for all of us is, how can we walk into the experience of prayer with our full selves, with an appreciation that I am who I am and it doesn't matter, and at the same time, how can we allow ourselves to be transformed as part of the collective? For me, that is what spiritual practice is about. For me, this is why I am here, why we are here. The next 10 days will not work as magic. At the end of Neilah, we will be the same people, but hopefully we'll enter this year with a deeper understanding and transformative experience that will allow us to deepen our spiritual practice, allowing ourselves to bring our full self, not to be embarrassed, to cry, to sing, to dance, to shake our bodies and our souls, but not in anonymity, not far away in Baton Rouge or at Gillette Stadium or at a dance party, but here in sacred space, in community, with people that will embrace us for who we are, with our strengths and our weaknesses. This year, as you know, we have chosen the words from this beautiful piyut we just sang, Ya'aleh, to be the guiding words during our high holidays. Ya'aleh tachanunenu me'erev, ve'yavo shavatenu miboker, ve'yera'er rinonenu ad arev. May our supplications ascend from the evening, and may our cry come from the morning, and may our song appear till evening. These words speak to the opening of our hearts and voices, bringing our full self to prayer, bringing our full self to life, and committing ourselves to showing up in the world morning, afternoon, and evening, all the time. And how can our experience of bringing our full self to this space, to this community, to these 10 days together, also inform the ways we show up in the world every day, at work, at school, with our family and friends, with our neighbors and coworkers? Allowing ourselves to be vulnerable and show our true selves and open up to other people with vulnerability and truth. My hope, my prayer for us for the next 10 days together is that we allow ourselves to enter this space in community and in fullness. This is a place where you can be safe and held, where you won't be mocked, where you can pray and pour your heart out. I do it from the bima, and that makes it safe for you to do it from where you are. And I hope we can, all of us, allow ourselves to cry and to lift up our voices individually and collectively for a world that is more just and beautiful, where humankind can fulfill its potential to be partners with the divine in the ongoing creation and healing of this world. Shana Tova.